A lot happened in this volume of Berserk. I don't even know what to talk about first. I mean, a lot happened. You know, I guess I'll talk about the very ominous, very cryptic discussion and talk between Guts and the Skull Knight, or the Skull King, whatever you want to call him. It seems like there's going to be some kind of imitation of an eclipse, and everything that's going on at the Tower of Conviction is leading towards this. And we know that it feeds on negative emotions. That's how the Beta opened. It's all destiny, etc., etc. And there's a lot of negative emotions brewing at the Tower of Conviction. You know, you got heretics being hunted, and they're not really heretics. Mazgas is, you know, torturing people. Then you got Nina with that goat again that we seen way back, I think, in Volume 3 or something like that. The goat sitting there, and there's like an orgy going on down in like below the holy grounds. There's a lot of crazy shit going on, and I'm assuming all of this is going to lead to an imitation of the eclipse, a mock eclipse, I guess you could call it. And this is what the Skull Knight's talking about. And basically, he says that Guts is in the interstice. He's between the human world and the astral plane. So he could very well be outside of the causality, I think he called it. Basically, outside of, you know, what is supposed to happen. He can be the thing that changes what's going to happen. And that's what I gathered from that conversation. Very cryptic, though. And then Puck says that he felt like the Skull Knight was an elf. He felt like he felt an elf coming from that person. So that was very interesting as well. Hopefully we get to see more about the Skull Knight. We get to see his past and exactly how he got turned into an apostle. You know, why he sacrificed, who he sacrificed, etc., etc. Obviously, he's the king, the original king of Midland, I believe. Gyseric, I believe his name is. And they even mentioned that person when the whole, like, orgy was going on. Crazy stuff. I mean, with the goat in there, apparently you have to kiss his heart, kiss his member, which his dick comes up and it's a fucking cobra, and then drink out of, like, this cook pot. And they were cooking like humans. It looked like babies. And the one dude ended up getting a finger in his mouth. I was like, this shit's fucked up, man. Fucked up. But that's not the only fucked up shit that happened in this volume. There was a lot of fucked up shit. I mean, like, Mazgas, at first you feel like he's showing some kindness towards this mother and her baby, bringing them to the tower, you know, the church, etc. Heals the baby, but then he says the baby will feel the payment later. And I'm like, what the fuck? Brings her to the torture chambers, and we see her people, the people that she was with, the refugees, being tortured by those torturers that Mazgas has, putting her in there as well. There was a scene where these claws were gripping this one chick's tits and ripping them up. I was like, dude, craziness. Absolutely fucking crazy. I was like, this is disgusting. Mazgas, we see him praying, and apparently he keeps, like, slamming his body into the ground, and apparently he says he has to give pain to others, you know, by practicing the scriptures. And he says that's why he gives himself pain as well. I don't know what to make of this guy. I don't know if he actually is really faithful to the god, Alma, I guess, or if he's faking it and he's an apostle and he's using this religion to do what he wants to do, you know, abuse his authority and carry out the will of the god hands. I just don't know what to make of him. He's very strange. He might just be an extremist, and he honestly believes in this holy see and these scriptures, and he just carries them out to the extreme and just doesn't give anybody the trial that they deserve. They just say they're heretics, and they torture him and burn him at the stake. And I was right. Casca obviously is now being seen as a witch by these heretics that worship the goat god or the goat or whatever, that are all about the orgies and whatnot, because they see the demons come out, and the little baby demon comes out and she's holding it like this, and then it disappears, and they're like, she's a witch. So obviously she's going to get wrapped up in all this, and probably when Guts gets there, they're going to learn that she's been taken by Mazgas, and they're going to actually burn her at the stake, because if she's an actual witch, they actually found somebody that's a witch, not just saying people are heretics, but she actually is a witch, they're going to make an example of her, and they're probably going to put her up on the stake. There's talk about the Hawk of Light, and obviously Guts immediately thinks of Griffith. And says that he might show up at this Tower of Conviction, and Guts pretty much tells himself, my main goal is to rescue Casca, but if he shows up, I will have to fight him. So a lot of crazy cryptic stuff going on in this volume. And then we get the introduction of a kid at the beginning of the volume, Isidro. Probably my favorite character so far since after the Eclipse, the introduction of new characters. This kid is awesome. He reminds me of Guts, but he doesn't seem to have that dark childhood upbringing, etc., etc. He is stealing food because the Kushan have been raiding these towns, and he's stealing food, and these other drifters try to get food from him, and he poisons them and says, "I don't like to be looked down upon." This kid poisons them. The kid is very wily. He's very what's the word? He can take care of himself. And once the Kushan scouts actually show up, he is caught in the middle of it, and all the other, the grown-ups die, and he's hiding, and then Guts shows up. And this happens plenty of times throughout the series. The dude shows up at the right moments. He is he's our hero, so it makes sense that he shows up right away. And it's so convenient because he rescues Isidro without even knowing it. And then obviously Isidro shadows him for a day and a half, follows him, whatever. And then we see the people that got the wheel treatment, the torture in the previous volume, are now spirits, evil spirits, and they come after Guts, and they don't, obviously, they want revenge for the person that, killed them, but they're just cursing whoever because they want revenge. And the wheels are coming, and Puck calls them the Hell's Angel, and I thought that was hilarious because the Hell's Angels is a biker gang, and they're on wheels, so it was kind of like a nod to that. It was pretty funny. And Isidro gets lost. Guts throws him down a hill or whatever. So I don't know if Isidro's still following Guts or what, but I have a feeling we're going to see more of Isidro, and he's going to become a staple in Guts' crew because I want to see Guts train him. I want to see this kid become stronger. I would like to see maybe Guts go back to Goto's place. Goto will probably be dead, but Ricker could probably make a sword, and Guts can train him, and this kid could become a formidable warrior in Guts' crew. So that'd be awesome to see that. Then we learn a little bit more about Serpico. We find out that Serpico's mother was burned at the stake 3 years ago. That's why he protected this boy who almost got found out as a heretic, because this other dude was like, throw the torch into the flame to prove you're not a heretic like your father. And then Serpico basically sticks up for him and says he's not a heretic. It was at his trial we found out he wasn't a heretic. And this guy Jerome, who we seen earlier, fucking Luca, who I do like that character a lot, talking to Serpico, and that's when we found out Serpico, it was personal. He seen his mother 3 years ago burn at the stake. So he, felt like this kid was just like him. And I have a feeling Serpico joined the Holy See because he wants to find out more about it. He doesn't believe that these people are heretics. He doesn't believe what's going on is right. And I think he's trying to take it upon himself and find out exactly what's going on. Because if this dude actually seen his mother burn at the stake 3 years ago, I can't see him completely, going along with this whole Holy See bullshit. Because he probably knew his mother was not a heretic. She wasn't a witch. So he wants to find out what's going on. She was wrongly accused of being so. At least that's what I'm assuming. And then Jerome says 3 years ago it couldn't be. So I'm kind of wondering what exactly Jerome was thinking. What exactly happened 3 years ago. I mean, that was before the Eclipse, because the Eclipse happened 2 years ago. Maybe it was around the same time as the Eclipse. So I don't know. But that was very interesting. And Serpico is really starting to pique my interest. I want to know more about him. He doesn't seem to be just like a blind follower of the Holy Iron Chain Knights. It seems like he has his own agenda. And he's not just a lackey to Farnese. He has like more going on inside of him. And that's exactly what Jerome said. So I'm very interested to see exactly what Serpico's plans are, what his motives are. Because I can't see this dude just following the Holy See blindly after watching his own mother burn at the stake. Maybe he was in the same town, city, whatever, as Farnese, because we learned Farnese at an early age was burning heretics at the stake because she felt like it caused the shadows to dance away from her. Maybe she was one of the people that burned Serpico's mother alive. Maybe it's intertwined somehow. So I would like to learn more about that as well. Luca, we find out that she's a prostitute and she looks out for all the other prostitutes, and she's very smart. I like the character a lot. She is very, very smart. She says to divide up everything evenly among everybody, no matter who ends up getting it, because if there's any little bit of jealousy, that will spurn somebody to rat us out, and then you could become falsely accused of being a heretic. So she's trying to protect her fellow prostitutes, and she's protecting Casca as well. But once the heretics find out that Casca isn't all like deformed, they were going to rape her, and then the whole thing with the demons coming out and them like proclaiming her to be a witch and worshiping her, we didn't see what happened after that. But like I already talked about that, I think I know what's going to happen. I don't really know if I touched on everything. I think I did. A lot of crazy stuff, like I said, happened in this volume. I hope I touched on all of it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the review and my thoughts on it. What I think is going to happen, like I said, I think Casca is going to get wrapped up in all this, and then Guts is going to get there and going to have to rescue her from being burned at the stake. Isidro is probably going to stay there with him. I have a feeling Luca and Isidro are going to become a part of Guts' crew because Luca is protecting Casca and Isidro is just following Guts. And Isidro is very stubborn, just like Guts. He says, you can't tell me what to do. I walk my own path. So I think Guts is eventually going to accept Isidro and maybe train him, and I think that'd be very awesome. As always, Puck's comedy is kind of funny. He's talking about like the elf dimension karate and stuff and saying that he taught Guts, and then he says, use what I taught you, Isidro. Just very, very lighthearted comedy in the midst of a very serious story. I really am enjoying it. I enjoyed this volume a lot. I was reading it and I was like, oh my god, like this is crazy. And when Guts was tearing people up, I was like, insane. Insane. I was like, that's my boy Guts. Fucking dudes up. But like I said, we got a lot of information in this volume. And that cryptic talk and discussion between Guts and Skull Knight really has me thinking what's going to happen. I feel like Griffith is going to appear. And also, when they were all having their orgy and like the Angel of Flame came up, it sort of looked like the one God Hand. The one that has the titties hanging out. The only female God Hand. And I heard there is a theory going around that the God Hand represent the 7 deadly sins. And she is lust. And if she is representing lust, that makes sense that she would appear and they would worship her because they're all having an orgy. And that's all about lust. I don't feel like the goat looking dude is the actual like person that represents all that. I just think he worships that female godhead and he's like a disciple of her or something. That's my thoughts on that. And it did look like she came out of the flames. So I feel like she represents that. I feel like Griffith represents that Hawk of Light. And I have a feeling Griffith is showing himself as the Hawk of Light because he wants to get people to blindly follow him. So when he appears again, if he does appear, which I feel like he does because that's what that cryptic discussion was about, he is going to use that to his advantage and have these people follow him and they're going to be like, oh, he showed up in my dreams. He's the Hawk of Light. And everybody in Midland knows Griffith as the White Hawk. Remember, he was the band of the Hawk. They all knew him. So they're probably going to kind of like go to him as blind sheep and follow him. And maybe Griffith will get his kingdom or something. Because all this is just, it just is all very cryptic. But this is just my thoughts on it. I just have a feeling this is what's going to happen because if he represents the Hawk of Light, he's showing himself to get people to follow him and believe in him. Just very crazy stuff. But I'm rambling on now, guys. We're going on 13 minutes. Let me know your thoughts on the volume. Let me know your thoughts on my thoughts. Like the video if you feel I deserve it. Subscribe if you want to see more content. But more than likely, you're already here because you're subscribed to me and you're watching my Berserk reviews because you want to watch them. Am I right about anything? Am I wrong about anything? Do you find my thoughts interesting? Let me know in the comment section below. That's all I have for you guys. Thanks for watching. Cheers. I'll catch you in the next video.